I am so excited to speak to our guest today. She's a PT that specializes in cosmetic surgery. Please help me to introduce physical therapist Nicole Psomas.
Hi, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and speak to you.
Hi, my name is Jonathan McLean, and I'm the founder and CEO of McLean Aesthetics.
Welcome to the dark side.
Let's go. Yes, yes. Thank you for coming on the show.
Wonderful. I'm very excited to be Zooming with you down in South Florida. Right now, I'm up here in chilly New York, New Jersey. So it's
Nice.
wonderful to talk with you.
Nice. So let's jump right in. Tell us, how did you get into becoming a physical therapist?
So I actually became interested in physical therapy in high school, back in high school. I was interested in the sciences. I know that was always a passion of mine. I also did have a passion in art as well. I was sort of deciding which area I wanted to go, but I really couldn't fight the need to continue to help people. My family has always been very involved in charity work, helping with people with special needs, particularly one charity. It's called Spectrum for Living, helping adults with developmental disabilities. So I got exposed to helping people with needs at a young age. And then I knew that I wanted to go into that field, helping people recover, living their best functional life. So that's how I became interested in physical therapy, the traditional aspect of physical therapy.
Super cool, super cool. And I always like to ask that question because I feel like people get into their careers for two reasons. Either they want to make a lot of money, or it has something personal to do with them, or they connect.
Yeah, my mother's brother was born with cerebral palsy. It was her twin brother, actually. And so that's how we became, as a family, involved in this charitable organization that he's a part of. It's really wonderful. And so that was such an instrumental part of my upbringing, and, seeing people who had maybe physical disabilities or cognitive disabilities or, any kind. And I just saw that the physical therapists, the doctors, the social workers that were helping these people live their best life. And I was so inspired that I knew that that was something I wanted to do moving forward.
Nice, nice. So when you started your physical therapy career, was it more so was it the traditional route in the hospital setting? And how did you end up in the cosmetic arena?
Totally one versus the other. So yes. So actually, when I was in college, it's really funny. I was like the Elle Woods of PT school. Like, I would show up in my fur coats and my, leopard skirts, and they would be like, okay, like, what are you doing here? But, I was like, just because we're doing, this medical thing and this physical therapy thing doesn't mean we can make it fashionable and cute. So that was sort of always my just style. But I really went a very traditional route. I started working at New York Presbyterian, Weill Cornell Medical Center, straight out of college. There, I was exposed to so many different aspects of recovery and helping patients recover, from orthopedic surgery, trauma, reconstructive plastic surgery, neurology, neurosurgery. I even ventured into pediatrics. So it was really like the nitty gritty, helping people recover from accidents, surgeries, cancer recovery. And that was like where my life was until 2009, when I, on a personal level, decided to go for a procedure to help myself look better. I was working out 3 times a week, but due to genetics, I just couldn't get rid of stubborn fat in my midsection. And it was getting to the point where I had to starve myself to address that area. And I didn't think that was healthy. I felt like I should be able to eat a healthy diet, work out, but have the shape that I wanted. So I consulted some of New York City's top plastic surgeons, and I decided to just go for what I considered a light procedure. It was laser liposuction with smart lipo. So yes, traditionally that has a quicker recovery time, and it's less invasive and it's easier. But I made the common mistake that everybody makes. I thought by being less recovery time that it meant no recovery time. So long story short, I come out of surgery and I'm home at my apartment by myself in the middle of New York, black and blue, swollen, bruised, in total shock. Like, what just happened? I didn't prepare myself at all. So I had to call my family to come pick me up, bring me to New Jersey, and basically help me to recover. And in that moment, like day one, post-op day one, I'm laying on the couch and I had my aha moment. What was I thinking? Like, this is surgery. I know as a physical therapist, every time you're cut, it takes at least 4 to 6 weeks for healing. So that's where eventually the title for my book was called After the Cut, because I knew the second that your body is cut, there's a healing time. And so I flipped on my PT brain and started to use all my little tricks for recovery, including like changing my diet, doing certain exercises, certain bandaging and wrapping, compression, like a whole method. And when I went back for my 1 week follow-up, the surgeon said to me, wow, I've literally never seen anyone recover this fast. You look absolutely fabulous. How did you do this? So I explained it to him and he said, this is amazing. And that was Dr. David Schaefer out of Schaefer Plastic Surgery in Manhattan. And he said to me, you know what? You got to do this on my patients, whatever you do. So that sparked a referral service. And I basically said, well, I've never done this for the cosmetic surgery population. And he said, well, I don't think it's ever been done before. So why don't you be the first? And I said, you know what? There's always got to be a first. So yeah, so that's how it started. It was just completely by accident, but it kind of found me.
Wow, that is such an interesting story.
Yeah.
That's amazing because one, you created a lane for yourself, right? And in sometimes specialties, you want to do something, but you're in such a specialty that you haven't heard it before that you get discouraged. You're like, maybe I can't work in that field. Maybe I can't do something. But you stumbled upon it, and it was something that really developed into a career. It's amazing.
Yeah, and step by step, this did not happen overnight. I just want to make that point. The first couple years, I worked very closely hand in hand with the surgeons that were referring me. We developed protocols together. I was in constant communication with them. I was using standards of practice that have been in the physical therapy standards practice for decades. So I made sure that I was treading carefully, lightly, and responsibly, and then it gradually happened over time. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel like this is a real booming market, plastic surgery. And I feel like there's a lot of people who want to jump into it and sort of jump on the bandwagon of recovery. And they have to be very responsible and they have to be very careful and they have to approach it with the due diligence that's necessary because this is health, wellness, and you're dealing with people's livelihood and their lives.
Yeah, you're at your most vulnerable moment, and there's a lot of like recovery homes down here in South Florida. But you make a very good point. Like, this is one of the biggest moments of your life, so you want to go to the right person.
Yeah, and you have the person who's providing the treatment, like myself. I mean, I'm a physical therapist. I have continuing education credentials. You have to be responsible and have the training to do this because you can't just be someone off the street who's like, I want to do recovery. And I guide patients to make sure that the person that they're getting treatment from has credentials, is certified, is a recovery expert. I had someone approach me who wanted to open a recovery center. She had no medical background. She had no medical training. She basically just had a nice house and wanted to open it to the public. And I said to her, but what's your plan for having people in place who have the background, who have the knowledge, who can oversee patients safely? So I just tell people to make sure that they're not just, going to get treatment for someone who decided to do it last week.
Yeah, no, I can definitely understand. Definitely.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to kind of more like present day. Tell us a little bit about what you do now and kind of how you incorporate the physical therapy into your career now.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's basically two aspects that I do within the cosmetic surgery recovery field. One is hands-on treatment that I provide the treatment myself to patients who are in my local area that I can get to. I'm in the New York City, New Jersey area. So it's difficult for me to treat patients like largely globally or internationally unless they're coming to see me. So those patients I'm treating hands-on. I am seeing them immediately after surgery, and I'm taking them through their recovery process. Whether it be seeing them on a frequent basis because they feel that they want that kind of attention, or I just see them for a couple sessions and teach them what to do. And then they're able to rehab and recover themselves with the guidance I've given them. So that's the one aspect that I'm doing, my physical hands-on treatments. And then the other one I'm doing are Zoom consultations. And I've really, really come to just have a passion and love for what I'm doing, consulting over Zoom, because I'm able to be in contact with so many more people all across the country and now all across the world. So people call me, we set up a session, we set up an appointment, and they can be at all different phases of their recovery. For example, some people I speak with before they even have surgery, and I'm telling them how to prepare, what they need to get, everything that they need to do to set up their home, how they prepare their body, and the steps that are going to needed before surgery. And then I take them through surgery day and recovery. And then I'll often consult with them again after their surgery to teach them, this is what you need to do now, this is where you're at, and I guide them along the way. And I don't physically need to be there to consult with them. So it's really, really cool. I really enjoy it.
That's super cool. You can literally touch the whole world.
I have. I mean, it's been so amazing. Like Europe, South America, Asia. I've spoken to people from everywhere. Middle East, Dubai, Qatar. I've had many patients from Qatar. So it's been very cool. It's been quite an experience for me as well.
Wow, super cool, super cool. Now, being in the New York City market, let's talk about a little bit about the plastic surgery industry. Is it booming there? Tell us a little bit about what's going on there in the New York City area and New Jersey.
New York City's booming. New York City, I believe, has always been booming. Yeah. The major difference I see now is people are more verbal about it, more open about it, and more candid and open to discussing their plastic surgery. I've been in this game about 15 years or so. And so back in the day, the way things were different, it was very secretive. People didn't really talk about their plastic surgery. Everybody was getting it done. Don't get me wrong. You just don't realize it. Men, women, all sorts. Just people were very private about it. That was a big thing in my treatments. I was talking to patients and helping them also maintain their autonomy and their privacy, and even discussing how it would be once they went home, and how they would face family or friends or people who might know that they had surgery. So that was a big aspect of it. It's still booming now, if not even more. But I feel like now it's just more of an open conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. And the reason I asked that is because in Miami, it is booming so much with the plastic surgery. And things are really going crazy here. And I was like, yeah, I wonder if it's the same in that area, or is it just all over since the pandemic? Is everybody going back? And
you definitely have the hot spots of where plastic surgery is the most booming. And I would say that's New York, Miami, Los Angeles. Texas is a big one. I have a big client base in Texas and Las Vegas. Like in those cities, also the amount of plastic surgeons present, like the amount per square like mile, is a lot greater than maybe some rural areas across the country. But don't be fooled. Plastic surgery has become really more of a upswing trend everywhere, even in your rural areas. I just see that patients might have to travel a little more. When you walk up and down Fifth Avenue, you could be like plastic surgeon, plastic surgeon, plastic surgeon, plastic surgeon. So that's the difference between, like, let's say New York and Miami versus Kansas.
No, definitely, definitely. So let's go back and talk about the book. I know you mentioned it a little briefly in the beginning, but tell us a little bit about this book and what inspired you to kind of write this book.
So after several years of me participating and really growing my client base and working with a lot of different surgeons across New York, I really honed in and developed like a recipe and a method for what I was doing with patients. It was just a combination of all different things of helping them physically recover as well as mentally recover and emotionally sort of get through it. And I came up with this formula, and the doctors were seeing what an improvement and how fabulous their patients were doing. So I was approached by a couple doctors, and they basically said to me, Nicole, can you sort of write up a pamphlet or, you know, just like a couple notes that we can hand out to patients that are the basis of guiding them of what you're doing with them? And I said, sure, that's a great idea. So I sat down one day and I started to write a pamphlet and basically realized how much information that I needed to share and that it really wouldn't work in a pamphlet form. So at that moment, I was like, oh my God, I have enough here for a book. Oh my God, I have to write a book. And it's funny because I really had zero plans in my life to write a book. It's not like one of those things where one day I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'd love to write a book. Let me find a topic. No, that's not how it worked at all. The topic found me. And I basically was like, oh, I have to do this. And the reason I was like exhaling and saying I have to do this because I knew it was a calling, that I really wanted to get this information that was going on in my head and that I was doing and sharing with people on paper so that I could share it with a greater scope of people. And I could share it definitely with people all over the country, but I could also share it maybe even beyond that. Because I constantly have patients say to me, what do people do who don't have access to you? How do people, you know, in Montana recover? How do people down in Nevada recover? And I used to say, I don't know. Like, it's really kind of sad because if they just knew these basic things, their recovery would go so much better. So I felt this overwhelming sense that I like had to do this. So it took me 9 years to write this book.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's so thorough, it's so comprehensive. And my feeling was I didn't want to rush to get it out there. I knew that maybe someone else would do it before me, perhaps, but I really didn't worry about that because I knew no one had my expertise, my volume, and no one started when I started. So I've been doing this a long time. Just all factors, I knew that I really had so much to offer. So I said, I'll get to it when it's ready. Like, I will put it out there when it's ready. And so I've heard people call it the Bible of plastic surgery recovery because it's like almost 400 pages.
Yeah, it looks amazing, and I've read a little bit about it. What you sent over, I'm just like, everybody that goes to surgery needs to get this. Like, seriously.
Oh, thank you.
Where can people find it if they're interested?
Oh, it's so easy. You can go right on Amazon. So it's called After the Cut: How to Prepare for and Recover from Cosmetic Plastic Surgery. And it's available on Amazon. I have a link to the book on my Instagram, which is After the Cut Book. And then I also have a website. It's called afterthecut.com. So any one of those avenues people can go to and find out about the book, read a little bit about it. I have a hardcover version and a Kindle version because I wanted it to be affordable for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Tell us a little bit. I know your career has been amazing and you have done so many things, but what was the biggest challenge you can say that you had to overcome in your career?
The biggest challenge I had to overcome, well, I would firstly say the biggest challenge was trailblazing into this market and going where no one has gone before. You know, at first you almost have to explain to people what you're doing. You have to explain to doctors your theory. You have to not only explain yourself, you have to show yourself. You have to prove yourself. You have to show and explain and prove yourself to patients, to skeptics, to people who are maybe just looking and observing what you're doing. If, like, let's say plastic surgery recovery had been a thing for maybe 10, 20 years before I came along, I really wouldn't have to explain myself. It would be done already. But when you're the first to do something, you basically are changing the mindset of people of an industry that's been a certain way for a very long time. So the mindset for plastic surgery was sort of basically, okay, do your surgery, take a few Percocet or Vicodin, go home, rest for a day or two, and then just let nature take its course. And that's just certainly not true. There are so many things that if you do, you speed up your recovery, you also have much better, safer, healthier results. So preventing infection, preventing, complications, or even it not looking the best it could look.
Yeah, no, I definitely can understand that for sure. What's one of the best? So for someone coming into your industry, what is one of the cons and benefits of entering?
So one of the benefits of doing what I'm doing is you get to work one-on-one with patients. You get to work with flexibility of your schedule and their schedule. You're basically working for yourself, and you're giving patients the attention that they need at a frequency that you and the patient decide. One of the cons, like I have mentioned before, is that you have to be, as a clinician, prepared to enter into this business. Really, if you're a physical therapist, occupational therapist, or massage therapist, those are really like the only people that really have the background and the credentials to do this, because you need to have background and training in certain manual techniques, the anatomy of the human body. You have to know safety precautions. You have to know warning signs and things that you need to maybe provide medical attention to. So this is not for somebody who's just walking off the street and decides, I want to help people do this. It's like saying, I want to be a doctor and just go practice on people. People need to understand that there would be a huge liability if you're not properly trained. So that's what I would say is one of the cons.
What type of insurance do you need to get into this business if you are someone that has a certification and ready to start?
I have personal liability insurance. So as a physical therapist, I also am operating under my license, just as a plastic surgeon operates under their license, a nurse operates under their license. We're held to certain standards and credentials and standards of practice. If I were to be working in a hospital setting, I'm under the umbrella of the hospital's insurance, the hospital's liability, processes. If I was working in an outpatient clinic, you're underneath the outpatient clinic's umbrella of the same. But if you're working as an independent contractor, you have to have your own insurance.
Gotcha. Definitely. What are some trainings that providers or physical therapists can get to kind of get into this industry?
Well, I would say one of the ones that's already in place is becoming a certified lymphedema therapist. That's what I am. I became certified back in 2012. I feel continuing education is so important. Like I said, I got into this in the year 2009, 2010. And as I was moving along, I realized the benefit of becoming, on top of a physical therapist, a certified lymphedema therapist that specializes in manual lymph drainage, lymphatic massage, which has become super popular since I've been doing this. That trend has picked up, the lymphatic massage trend. And if you are a certified lymphedema therapist or manual lymph drainage therapist, that's a specialty that you do over everyone else. So I think that's super important. And like I said, the three people that I think are certified to do this that are physical therapists, occupational therapists, and massage therapists. On another note, I'm actually right now in talks with a national school, and I'm building a course, the first of its kind, that would certify PTs, OTs, and massage therapists on the large scale that it will be through this particular school. So I'm in the middle of developing a course.
Wow.
So once that launches, I will let people know where they can go to become a certified plastic surgery therapist.
Oh, it's amazing, because I'm sure it was really hard getting in with nobody before you doing it. Now somebody will be able to take your course and really have a jumping point of their career.
Yes, absolutely. But, you know, I want this to be recognized through the APTA, my course, and because there are a lot of people out there who are doing, you know, coursework and, you know, showing other therapists how to just do what they've been doing. But I want this to be through a certified school.
I can definitely understand that for sure. Is there any conferences or even any podcasts that people can listen to or go to gain more knowledge?
Right now, the ASPCA offers a lot of conferences and things in person that you can go to and be a part of, like aesthetic conferences. If you Google it, there are several aesthetic conferences around the country. I know in Las Vegas they host, and then down in Miami, oftentimes Los Angeles. So there are places for people to go to learn more.
Nice, nice. And I always like to ask about people on social media or people generally in public that you admire, that have put in a lot of work in this industry, that you would suggest other people to follow or to look up.
Well, definitely me.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. No, you know what? You know what I find super interesting? Social media has allowed a platform for doctors, surgeons, and even people like myself to show what they can do and show their results. So if there's a plastic surgeon that you're interested in, I think it's great to follow them on Instagram and look at the kind of work that they are putting out there, and look at the kind of work that they're doing, because in my opinion, plastic surgeons are artists. And so it's really aesthetically like a difference based on the patient and what they like and what they see. So like, for example, if you follow Dr. Kat or Dr. Kassir or Dr. Schaefer, you know, there's a lot of different plastic surgeons and they have different specialties and different sort of techniques. If you go and you follow them on Instagram, you can get inspired and see if it's something that you would be interested in doing with them.
Nice, nice. I'm going to drop all those names below so everyone can go ahead and check those people out, learn a little bit more knowledge today. Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining me and talking a lot more about physical therapy and the cosmetic industry. Tell everybody where they can find you and what you got planned next.
Wonderful. So if anyone would like to consult with me, set up a Zoom consultation, speak with me, they can go to my Instagram at After the Cut Book. And you can just shoot me a message there. It might take me a few hours or a day or so to respond, but I respond to everybody. And like I said, if you're interested in the book, you can go to Amazon. But I'm very accessible over After the Cut Book on Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. And until next time, goodbye.
Thank you, Jonathan.